It's the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion. This is for Thursday, the 25th of September. I'm Michael Groff. Active weather coming into the southwest as early as this afternoon, but especially for Friday, with increasing chances of showers, thunderstorms. Some of those storms could produce some very heavy rain that could lead to flood or flash flooding. In addition, widely scattered severe thunderstorms are possible, and they might produce winds to 60 miles per hour or greater, as well as moderately large hail. Models are starting to come into better agreement as to the timing of all of this. However, we still have some question marks as to when, where, how much, and we're going to try and get into the logistics of all of that. Now, in the immediate term, over the next few hours, we're still dealing with heat here in the south central deserts. Daytime highs well above average, but I assure you that will not be a forecast concern going forward, as high temperatures will be taking a nosedive tomorrow and staying below average through the weekend before some recovery in temps is expected next week. So, needless to say, there's a lot to talk about. We're going to dive on in, get to all of it and everything else in just a moment. Hey everyone, it's Michael Groff here to talk to you about your roof. With all the extreme weather we have in Arizona, you need a name you can trust, and that's why you should call Blackstone Roofing Group for all of your roofing needs. Call for your free inspection today. Big or small, they do it all. Tile, shingle, or flat roofing, they can help. Offering free inspections and more. Roofing made easy. Call 602-536-9363 or visit blackstoneroofinggroup.com to schedule your free inspection today. And if you tell them Michael Groff sent you, they'll take $500 off the price of your roof replacement. Again, that's 602-536-9363 or blackstoneroofinggroup.com. All right, let's get into it here. Taking a look at the almanac from yesterday, 107 degrees was the afternoon high, just missing that record of 108. 81 the morning low, and of course, those are above those averages of 98 and 75. And as we take a look outside right now, here at 12:45 p.m., we've got some high clouds out there right now, partly cloudy sky in the valley. We're sitting at 102 degrees at Sky Harbor. Dew points creeping back up toward 58, relative humidity 23%. There's a breeze from the southeast at 13, and the barometer is falling. Satellite picture out here across the southwest doesn't look like much is happening at the moment, but there is that upper low that continues to spin off the California coast, and it is meandering its way in our direction. And as it gets closer to us, we'll start to see those southeasterly winds in the lower levels of the atmosphere bringing up moisture from the south and southeast. And that, along with the dynamics from this approaching low, will set the stage for showers and storms to increase over the area this afternoon and tonight, mainly east of Phoenix initially, but we'll see better chances of storms here in the lower deserts, including Phoenix by tomorrow morning. And we'll talk about all of that in just a moment. All right, here's the watch warning map, and we do have a flood watch in effect for a good portion of southeast and parts of south central Arizona. The National Weather Service has expanded this flood watch to include the greater Phoenix area now. And this flood watch goes into effect at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, continues through 11 p.m. tomorrow evening. The flood watch actually extends through Saturday evening for southeast Arizona, including places like Tucson, Marana, Nogales, Douglas, Bisbee, Sierra Vista, Safford, much of Pima, Santa Cruz, Graham, Greenlee, Cochise counties, but now it's been expanded to include portions of Gila and eastern and parts of central Maricopa County, again, including the greater Phoenix metro area. Convective outlook for today, we've got a marginal risk of severe storms for much of the Atlantic coast, and here in Arizona, there's that low-end marginal risk of severe storms. That's level 1 out of 5. And again, it's basically to include many of those same areas I mentioned, anywhere from Nogales over to Douglas, all the way north and westward up toward the East Valley of greater Phoenix, and Flagstaff, Sedona, up into parts of Mojave County, Ash Fork included in that as well. So in that area in the darker green there, we could see a few thunderstorms that produce wind gusts to around 60 miles per hour this afternoon, maybe in an isolated microburst as well. And some small hail, probably less than 1 inch in diameter. Probably won't see severe hail from storms down there today, although that might not be the case tomorrow. Speaking of, this is the day 2 outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. And now greater Phoenix is in that level 1 out of 5 marginal risk of severe storms. And again, Some severe hail possible, maybe 1 inch to 1.5 inches in diameter, and winds 60 miles per hour or greater could occur from the strongest storms, particularly in the late morning and afternoon hours tomorrow here in the south central deserts. All right. In the tropics, in the Atlantic Basin, we've got quite a bit of activity going on here. Still, Gabrielle is holding on out there in the eastern Atlantic. That is becoming post-tropical, however, and it is weakening. But we have a brand new tropical storm on the board. That's Umberto. And we also have this other tropical wave that's got an 80% chance of developing over the next couple of days here. All right, now let's talk about Gabrielle. This is going to be off the board here pretty soon as it makes its way back toward Western Europe and North Africa as a post-tropical system kind of circulating around the ridge out there. We're not going to worry about that. This is Umberto, and this is expected to become a hurricane. Now, in all probability, this misses the east coast of the United States. So that's the good news. It kind of field goals right between the east coast of the U.S. and Bermuda. That's good. However, the system to the south and west of it, and that is Invest 94L, that's a different story. The tropical models take this up toward the South Atlantic coast, Georgia, the Carolinas, over the next several days. Now, the intensity of this system still remains to be seen, and whether or not it is any real factor is still a little bit uncertain. But right now, there's good agreement on the tropical models that this will affect the southeastern part of the United States or perhaps the middle Atlantic coast. The European ensemble, the members that pick up on this, take this up toward the Carolinas. And obviously, we're going to have to watch this system very carefully. How strong will it get? That's a little bit uncertain as well, as it may struggle to develop. But, we're going to have to watch. And these things are still uncertain. It's not even on the board yet, but obviously we're going to get a better picture of this over the next 12 to 24 hours as to how all of this will play out. So we'll keep you updated here, and naturally go to your trusted sources of information to find out the latest on what's going on with Invest 94L. Now, in the East Pacific, we've got Narda. This is a hurricane, but it won't be for that much longer. This is going to make kind of that curve toward the north and northeast, and may even get caught up in the westerlies, and some of this moisture could even get brought back toward the western United States or the southwest U.S. with time. That remains to be seen, but we will keep an eye on the progress of the remnants of this system and how it could impact weather out here in the western states. All right, closer to home, the precipitation outlook. This is valid through Thursday morning of next week. Rain amounts in Phoenix, boy, this is going to be a tough call, right? Anywhere from 1/3 to 2/3 of an inch, maybe some spots picking up 1 inch. Your amount will vary, that is for sure. This is a tight rainfall gradient. In a setup like this, these cutoff lows are so tough to forecast. I will tell you, there will no doubt be some areas that are going to pick up 2+ inches of rain. Any storm, anywhere, could dump 2 inches of rain in short order. We know that. But this represents an average of what we'll see across the region. And, I cannot guarantee that everybody in the valley is going to get precipitation out of this. That's just not something we can do. This is still, despite the fact this system is knocking on our door, not exactly a high confidence forecast. And we're going to talk about the details of this right now as we get to the models, have a look at things. This is the GFS, the 12Z run, valid at 5 o'clock this afternoon. The upper look at 500 millibars, about 18,000 feet off the ground. All right, we've got a little trough coming into the southeast U.S. We've got a ridge poking out across the Rockies and into the Plain States. And there's our upper low off the California coast. That's our weather maker for later today and especially tomorrow, perhaps into the weekend. So what it means down at the surface for the rest of the day today, we'll start to see some increase in clouds out there. Widely scattered showers and thunderstorms will fire up across eastern Arizona. They'll become a little bit more numerous with time. A few storms may try to get closer to the valley, but keeping in mind that the upper level steering flow is still somewhat westerly today, so storms are generally going to stay away from us in the lower deserts for this afternoon and this evening. They should be concentrated from generally north central Arizona through the eastern mountains in the southeastern part of the state, but we cannot completely rule out a stray storm sneaking toward the East Valley later this afternoon or this evening. So we put a slight chance of storms into our forecast. High temperatures today will top out around 102 to 106. Certainly that is well above the average for this time of year of 98 degrees. For tonight, slight chance of an evening shower or storm. Looking at our high-resolution guidance, this is the HRRR, the high-resolution rapid refresh at 6 o'clock. And the simulated radar product, yeah, it shows a couple of showers not far away from Phoenix. And again, the radar won't look precisely like this, but you get an idea that, yeah, we cannot rule out a storm here over the lower deserts this evening. And we won't. So keep that in mind. But for the most part, I think the evening will be fairly quiet here. But better chances of storms certainly in the southeast and east central mountains and up north. Low temperatures tonight should mainly be in the 70s to low 80s, but tomorrow, this is the day where things start to happen as this upper low finally begins to move our way. The ingredients are certainly coming together. We still have, as we've been talking about for a few days, we will have some upper level divergence as this low approaches us. Those are winds that fan out. They spread apart, and as winds spread apart, that means that there's sort of a void, almost a vacuum, if you will, where air is forced to rise, and more rising air means more clouds. That means more precipitation. In addition, we will have at least decent moisture, although not as robust as we would see during the heart of the monsoon season, but still some moisture is associated with this. We have the dynamics of the low itself, the cold air aloft, decent lapse rates sitting here, and the other kind of wild card dynamic for tomorrow is how much sun are we going to get? How much thermodynamic support will we get from this? The more sun we see, obviously, the more unstable the air gets, and that'll help to bubble up additional showers and thunderstorms and perhaps add to the potential of severe weather. Such as it is right now, I would say the best chance of storms here in Phoenix will start with the chance of storms in kind of the early mid-morning hours. We'll see an increasing chance of storms as that belt of stronger winds aloft. We'll see some shear anywhere from 30 to 40 knots coming through south central Arizona, probably toward the late morning and early afternoon hours tomorrow. So with maximized winds aloft from this, the approaching low, the dynamics, and some moisture, showers and storms are going to fire up. A few of those are going to get strong, if not severe. Now, high temperatures tomorrow will be much cooler. We'll be in the upper 80s to mid 90s. All right, let's do this. This is a forecast sounding. This is coming off the wrap. This is tomorrow morning. And, you know, I think some of the dynamics on this are a little overdone. I mean, it's got Cape values that are over 2,000 to 3,000 joules per kilogram. And I would say that's probably slightly too high. I think at most, Cape values are probably 2,000-ish joules per kilogram. I think it's got the moisture levels maybe a little higher. The mixing ratio is ever so slightly too high. But the general idea of some low-level southeasterly flow and some veering of the wind with altitude does exist. And so while I'm not going to go as far as to suggest, like, you know, on the possible hazard type on this is tornado, we're not going to go that far with this forecast, okay? But certainly some strong storms that could produce some hail are not out of the question, and some strong damaging straight line winds. That is always a possibility in a setup like this. You know, I think the energy helicity index on this is a little too high. There's a little too much helicity, but, you know, people will all inevitably ask me, what's the tornado threat with a storm, with an incoming storm system like this? And I give the same answer every time. Any thunderstorm can always produce one of those little, what I call a spin-up tornado, what is sometimes called a land spout tornado. Those can occur. Yes, we know that. But beyond that, I don't think there's any enhanced risk of any sort of shenanigans from tornadic storms tomorrow. But some hail, some damaging straight line winds possible. And we show you this not to scare you, not to overhype anything. We're not here to do hype. We're just here to have model discussion. And that's certainly why we have the possibility of a few severe storms. And we really like to geek out on these videos. That's what this is all about. That's why we show you these forecast soundings, which I know to some of you, you know, it's gobbledygook, it's Klingon, it's gibberish. But, you know, your 5-year-old would hand you this and you'd say, oh, that's really not, I'm going to put this on the fridge right over here. I know that's what this looks like to some of you, but it is a useful tool. Now, let's look at another one of our high resolution models here. This is the HRRR, and this is tomorrow afternoon at 5 o'clock. And yes, it does have showers and thunderstorms around south central Arizona and across a good portion of the eastern half of the state. And I think the bigger threat from storms tomorrow is going to be the possibility of locally heavy rain. This is not going to be a widespread severe weather outbreak. This is not going to be a widespread heavy rain event. That being said, where the storms occur, there could be some localized severe weather, localized flooding. And that's why we have that flash flood watch, because any one of these storms could be an absolute gully washer. It could be a deluge. Because of the dynamics that are in place. So keep that in mind. All right, so let's keep going. This is Saturday. And the low is still around, okay? We'll still have a chance of showers and storms. And there might even be a strong storm or two on Saturday. We can't rule that out. I would say storm coverage will be a little less numerous. We'll call for a 40% chance of storms on Saturday after a 70% chance of storms tomorrow. So high temperatures on Saturday are still going to be much lower than they have been. Highs mid-80s to about 90 degrees. I've been looking at some of the guidance coming in lately that has temps even lower than that. Somebody sent me a screenshot of their phone app that showed a high of 79 on Saturday. I don't think so. Okay, let's pump the brakes on that. I mean, I'd love that, but that is probably not going to happen. Nevertheless, scattered showers and thunderstorms still possible on Saturday, but they will be hit and miss. Sunday, there might still be a shower or two around. The low is beginning to move out, though. I would say the better chances will be over the eastern part of the state, and even at that, they'll be widely scattered. I think most of the moisture at this point is off into New Mexico, Colorado, and West Texas. But still, we can't completely rule out a stray shower or storm on Sunday. High temperatures, again, upper 80s to about 90. Monday, the low is out of here. Dry westerly flow takes over, and we start to go to more of a typical end of September, early October weather pattern with high temperatures in the, I'd say, low, maybe mid-90s, and we're going to continue with that. Dry conditions, low to mid-90s on Tuesday, maybe mid-90s on Wednesday of next week or so. And there's been some guidance that has pushed temperatures back closer to the triple digits, and that's still possible. I'm not ready to declare the end of our triple-digit days just yet, but they are very limited after today. We might just have a couple, hopefully. I would love it to be zero, but I think that's slightly too optimistic of an approach to take at this time. And there's nothing wrong with optimism, don't get me wrong, but I'm more of a science guy. Obviously, if we're doing these videos, we're kind of science-based here, and unfortunately, there's just not quite the compelling evidence to suggest that we're completely done with 100-degree days just yet, especially when we look out here toward a week from today. This is Thursday, the 2nd of October. And at that time, a trough is passing to the north of us and westerly flow. And yeah, temperatures might actually be a little lower here, might be in the low to mid-90s. But after that moves out, high pressure starts to build back in. The upper heights return to about 585 to 588 decameters, and temperatures will be back to the mid-90s, perhaps upper 90s. Out 10 days to Saturday the 4th. And again, a 588 ridge is around. We're dry, and temperatures would be at or a little bit above average. Will we hit 100 here? If not, we're very close. So the good news is, though, the air mass is dry, and the nights are much longer as we head into October now, and so those overnight lows for most of us will be down in the 60s. It's going to feel great, and I would even dare to suggest that a few of the remote desert areas dip into the upper 50s. So, temperatures are going to start to feel a lot better, even though it'll still be warm during the day. The minute that sun goes down, it's going to feel great going outside. So that's something to look forward to, even if we don't have the rain and storms out here later on next week and the following weekend. Also of note here, look at that pretty impressive short wave across the plain states. Could see the focus of some showers and thunderstorms, maybe some severe weather out there. We'll have to watch for that. All right, looking at rainfall for Phoenix out through the 9th of October. The ensemble mean here on the GFS is actually about 0.2 of an inch. It's come way down. The European is a little bit more optimistic at about 0.5 inch. The European AI, I think we can kind of discount this, sort of, kind of, up there over an inch. The only thing I will say about this is I have no doubt that some locations will receive this robust amount of precipitation. But will it happen at the official rain gauge at Phoenix Sky Harbor? Will we go into the bucket, into the books, with rain in the bucket at an inch, 2 inches of rain from this storm system? Probably not. Hope so. Probably not. GFS is probably somewhat more realistic. It'll be an interesting rainfall gradient and distribution, to say the least, from this storm system, as it always is. All right. You know, we're going to get the comments. Somebody's going to say, it didn't rain at my house, Mike. This forecast was a bust. You don't know what you're talking about. You suck. And I get it. I mean, no argument from me. All right. You know, that's weather. There's a lot of channels out there that will tell you they know definitively what will happen. There's those guys, you know, AZ Weather Force. They'll tell you they know everything and they're better than the Weather Service. And, you know, I mean, well, I don't know what they say anymore because they blocked me many years ago. But, you know, we have to keep it humble here. I certainly don't have all the answers. And that's why we just sit here. We geek out. We talk about weather. We talk about the possibilities. And, hey, every once in a while, we're even right. I assure you it's by accident. All right, looking at temperatures off the National Weather Service, off the National Blend of Models. Got a lot of stuff on the brain here. All right, temps trending down over the next couple of days. In fact, high temperatures may not make it to 90 degrees or just barely if they do on Saturday and perhaps even Sunday. But, you know, we're going to snap back to some semblance of reality with highs getting back into the mid and upper 90s as we go into next week. And, of course, there is still that possibility of a stray 100-degree day. Just can't quite put those to bed yet. All right. That is, if we had like a lullaby or something, we could, there's rain dances. Do we have like cool dances? Do we have end of 100-degree day dances? I don't know. All right, that's it for the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion for today, mercifully. My next video is back here tomorrow morning. Should you happen to enjoy these videos, then be sure to subscribe, like, share, click that notification bell, leave those comments, questions, and suggestions. Hey, if you really like what we do here, you want to support the channel, you want to help us out, that would be greatly appreciated. Click that thanks icon below the video here on YouTube. Make that monetary contribution to us there, or via PayPal. grofshow@gmail.com is that PayPal address. If you think PayPal is too evil, well, then you can use Venmo. Our Venmo is also linked up down in the description. The executive producer of the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion is my OAO, the sweetest of all time, the Asian sensation and proprietor of sweetchildaz.com.org and the Facebook page of the same name, Sweet Child Arizona, talking about my Michelle. Check her out, blogs. She's got videos. She's got style. She's got rhythm. And so I encourage you to check out everything that Michelle has got going on, and we've got it all linked up down in the description. But it's not just Michelle, of course not. It's also a Michelle-related, Kylie-related, Adriana-related. They're all linked up down below so you can see what's going on with them. Okay. What else? Our streaming station, it's available 24/7, 365. It's called KMGX. We play a lot of music and have a lot of fun with that. Check out Dan over at the Courtroom Files YouTube channel, The Courtroom Files on YouTube, or courtroomfiles.com for all your Courtroom Files merch. I tell you to check out Dan because his channel is a wealth. It is a cornucopia of content, and certainly puts out more content than me, and is approaching 25,000 subscribers. Dan, we're catching up, though. We're only about 22,300 behind. We're going to get you one day. But no, I also want you to check it out because tonight at 8 p.m. East, 5 Pacific, I will be over there for Sidebar. That's our twice weekly panel show. And so you can join me, Ashley, Bailey, and Dan the Man over there tonight at 8 East, 5 Pacific in Arizona time for Sidebar. All right, thank you guys so much for watching, all of your continued support. Seriously, just so greatly appreciated. And I couldn't do this without all of your continued support. So thank you so much for everything that you guys do. Please be safe, stay cool, stay hydrated out there, and have yourselves a beautiful rest of your Thursday.